right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Thursday showers. The rain chances ramp up for many of us tomorrow. When and where the most rain will fall.
Justice for Jana. A bill requiring federal cleanup in the Hazelwood School District passes one hurdle in Washington. A judge puts a temporary hold on Missouri's new rule on transgender health care.
We are just humans, and we're just needing to access care in the same way that other people in society are.
What this means going forward for the transgender community. Tonight, a St. Louis County judge put a temporary hold on Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's emergency order limiting transgender health care in the state. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. The judge heard arguments in a temporary restraining order hearing this afternoon and plans to issue a decision by Monday. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski was in the courtroom today and joins us now live. Laura.
Mike, this temporary hold gave transgender people who are scared for their lives a bit of relief, but the fight is far from over. St. Louis County Judge Ellen Ribato heard arguments for a temporary restraining order on Attorney General Andrew Bailey's emergency rule limiting transgender health care in the state. It was set to kick in on Thursday. Bailey's rule says gender-affirming health care is experimental and new trans patients, both minors and adults, would have to undergo 18 months of mental health counseling before they could begin transgender medical treatments of any kind. Lawyers for local health care providers and their transgender patients called the rule inhumane and says these treatments are not experimental. While cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, we were able to talk with people outside.
Gender-affirming health care is evidence-based, fact-based, and scientifically driven care for, a group of individuals that need it.
Josh Devine with the Attorney General's office argued in court today via video call, saying, quote, "This is not a ban at all. You can get all of these things, but you have to go through talk therapy first." Getty Carey Avery is a transgender woman and says therapy is a common part of gender-affirming care.
That's not unprecedented in gender care, but it is something that has not been a priority as of late, because what medical professionals have observed is that people who wait for long periods of time to access their care are going to suffer more negative consequences over time.
The judge decided to put a hold on Bailey's rule for 5 days while reviewing the arguments made. Bailey said in a statement following the ruling, quote, "This order merely stays the implementation of our rule so the court can review the briefing. We will continue fighting for all patients to have access to adequate health care."
Are we going to lose lives from this if transgender people can't access their gender-affirming care?
Yes, we are just humans, and we're just needing to access care in the same way that other people in society are.
The judge says that she will release her decision by May 1st at 5 p.m. on whether to grant or deny this temporary restraining order. Reporting live from Clayton, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
A man is dead after being shot while driving. Police say a 19-year-old was driving in reverse on Chippewa near Nebraska when he was shot. He then crashed into a fire hydrant and then a vacant home and was thrown from the truck. 3 other teens ran from the vehicle but were found and taken to the hospital. Police say guns were found at the scene. If you do have any information about all this, you are asked to call the anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers, at 866-371-8477. A nurse at St. John Vianney High School in Kirkwood is fired after the school says she had inappropriate contact with a student. Parents received a letter saying the now former employee, who worked as a nurse and as an athletic department assistant at the all-male school, also violated the school's social media policy and privately communicated with students. School officials say she was immediately removed from campus. We are not naming her because she has not been charged. Now to an update on a story we've been reporting. A Washington Park police officer has been charged with assaulting a teen with intellectual disabilities. The St. Clair County State's Attorney charged Justin Gaither with official misconduct and aggravated battery. Gaither was called to a Washington Park home last month. He ended up getting into a physical fight with 19-year-old Larry Shaw. Police say the officer hit Shaw in the face and used a stun gun. The combination of rain and melting winter snow is causing major concerns for flooding along the Mississippi River. The National Weather Service warns the flooding could reach historic levels. Now millions are hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. Disasters and emergency declarations are already in place in parts of Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota.
People say it's the storm of the century, the year, that we've never seen a blizzard like this, and then Mother Nature says, hold my beer.
Out west, melting snow in the mountains of California causing the same issues. Most of Yosemite Valley is closed until at least the middle of next week. That crest will be working into our area by the end of next week, and Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with that Weather First forecast.
Yeah, Mike, and it's very important for us to put this in perspective. While it is going to be historic flooding in the upper parts of the Mississippi River Basin, by the time that water gets down here, it has much less of an impact. Still, we'll be looking at areas north of St. Louis for the river to creep above flood stage. That does include minor flooding at Grafton. And then once you get from Winfield north into the moderate flooding category, levels that we haven't seen since back in 2019. And we are not going back to the levels in 2019. But Clarksville, you see that picture right there? That's on the riverfront parking area where you access the river. That's about the level that we will see with this crest that arrives at the end of next week. Just a little over 6 feet above flood stage. The heaviest rain over the next 10 days? Well, it's not really in the upper Midwest. It's mostly east and south of us. And the areas across Wisconsin and Minnesota that do see the heaviest rain, they're not part of the Mississippi River drainage basin. So the rainfall that we expect over the next 10 days should have very little impact on the forecast river levels as we have them now, not even expecting it to get to flood stage or even near it around the St. Louis area. We'll see you in a few minutes. We'll talk about our forecast for the weekend.
All right, Scott, we'll see you then. Well, today, the Justice for Jana Act passed in the Senate.
For years now, this community has had to deal with the fallout of the federal government's own nuclear program and the waste left over from it dating back to the 1940s, which was then effectively dumped in St. Louis, made its way into the water, into the soil, and now into a stream that runs right by this elementary school.
Senator Josh Hawley introduced the legislation on the Senate floor. Jana Elementary closed months ago over radioactive concerns. The act would order the Army Corps to clean up Jana Elementary, create a fund in order testing for all schools in the Hazelwood district, as well as order the Department of Energy to review all tests. The same bill was introduced in the House, but still needs to pass. And today, Jana Elementary was the focus of a forum at St. Louis University. The groups who tested the fluorescent property for radioactive waste were there to discuss their findings. The independent group, called the Boston Chemical Data Corporation, claims there are high levels of radioactive waste in and around Jana. But just yesterday, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers released one of 3 reports claiming Jana Elementary is safe from a radiological standpoint.
It's the evaluation that determines, is there contamination above our remedial goals, yes or no? And the conclusion of the report is there is none.
The scientific data continues to conclusively show that there's radioactive contaminants related to the Manhattan Project.
The Army Corps of Engineers has 2 final reports still under development and should be released within the next few months. Several businesses are damaged by fire overnight in the Del Mar Loop, at least one of them destroyed. Tonight, fire crews are trying to figure out what caused the fire. They say it started in the kitchen of the Three Kings restaurant around 3 a.m. and quickly spread to the apartments above. Luckily, everyone was able to get out safely. The fire also caused damage to the Iron Age Tattoo and Piercing and Sunshine Daydream. St. Charles police make an arrest in a $1 million jewelry heist that happened nearly 800 miles away. Florida police were searching for 4 Romanian nationals wanted in a heist there, and police here were able to trace a cell phone belonging to one of the suspects. The 4 thieves were taken into custody at a St. Charles home. They are said to be part of a Romanian criminal network with more than 1,400 members across the United States. New tonight, remembering a St. Louis area Catholic pastor who worked for decades to see his communities flourish, particularly the Hill. Monsignor Sal Polizzi had died at the age of 92. And tonight, Brent Solomon is speaking with those who loved the pastor.
Well, Mike, you talk about a story that has so many people talking tonight. We're talking about a man who spoke with passion, pride, purpose. That's how people tell me Polizzi lived, and because of that, so many say they're better as a result. You can't go to the Hill without feeling Monsignor Sal Polizzi's impact.
He's what turned this into the community that it is.
When I-44 was in the works to be built here, Polizzi called on the federal government to create an overpass to make sure the Hill didn't become separated.
He was large and in charge.
To this day, when you come to the Hill, you'll notice something pretty iconic. Fire hydrants painted in the colors of the Italian flag. There's a story behind that.
Due to, I guess, some antics and capers done by some of the youth, and when he found out about it, sort of a punishment was to put them to work and do a community project. And that was his idea, to show the Italian pride and let them experience their pride by working for it.
Polizzi once served as associate pastor of St. Ambrose Catholic Church before he was transferred to St. Roch Catholic Church to serve as pastor.
He was very, very influential in trying to mold us, the younger priests, on how to be good priests.
Father Jack Seifert recalls the Monsignor's tell-it-like-it-is personality.
One time we went out for dinner recently, and I asked him, I go, well, Monsignor, do you want me to wear my blacks, my clerics to dinner? Or do you want me just to be dressed in, regular civilian clothes? And he said to me on the phone, Jack, are you a priest? Yes, Monsignor, I'm a priest. Then wear blacks. That always is a good statement to make to the community that we're around, we're available, we're approachable, and we're accessible.
Monsignor Polizzi passed away Monday at the Mother of Good Counsel home. He was 92. Several visitations and funeral mass will happen next week. We've placed that information for you on KSDK.com.